When talking about healing after narcissistic abuse, many people say healing takes time. But does it? And does it only take time? Because in my opinion, it takes strategy more than time. It takes avoiding gutters and building bumpers. But what does that all mean? Let's try to understand that in today's episode. Hi, I am Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional, and today's episode is going to be all about understanding or knowing 5 secrets that could fasten up your healing process. Before we get started, please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel by pressing the subscribe button and push the bell icon to stay updated with everything latest that I post over here. Secret number 1. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Many people try to fasten up their healing process after narcissistic abuse by jumping into relationships, by searching multiple healing modalities in search of that one magic pill that could potentially fix them and make them better so that they could forget the narcissist and move on. But that rarely happens. And in the process of doing so, many people make big mistakes that keep them stuck in this healing journey of theirs. They try to fasten up things that cannot be fastened up because healing in itself is a very gradual process. And why would it be? Because it's a process of reconstruction. Therefore, it has to happen slowly, it has to happen properly. Just think of constructing or building a house. If you were to get it done in, a month, the work that would take 3 months, if you were to force it and complete it in a month, what would be the quality of the structure? What would be the strength of it? It, of course, 100% is given that its strength wouldn't be as much as the structure that would have taken 3 months to be constructed. The same thing is, you need to understand, the same thing is applicable to your healing process. It is rebuilding yourself. It's all about finding yourself. It's all about connecting yourself. It's not just forgetting the narcissist. Therefore, it is going to be slow, and slow is going to be smooth, which actually is fast. Because if you were to look at the bigger picture, those who fasten up, those who try tens and hundreds of healing modalities, tens and hundreds of therapists and coaches, they end up feeling miserable at the end of it and waste a lot of time. But if you were to be patient with yourself, if you were to be patient with your process, you're going to end up making more progress than those who try to fasten it up. So essentially, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Point number 2, don't be myopic. Let's assume that I want to lose some weight, and currently my weight is 150 pounds. I want to lose 30 pounds, let's say, or 20 pounds, whatever it is. And I've been trying to lose it. I've been trying my best, whatever I could, exercise, diet, and so on. Now I want to know what my progress is, where am I at in my healing journey. I could use 2 approaches. Number 1, I could look at my weight right now, take a snapshot of where I am and, see the reading on the weighing scale and assume that on the basis of that one snapshot, assume that I have made some progress or I have not. Or I could choose to look at the timeline of how I have been doing in the last month and how my weight has been fluctuating and look at the average weight. These are 2 ways of approaching the same thing. One way where I would be taking this snapshot, this one point of data would be completely inaccurate because it will not give me all the information. The data of this one point is not enough for me to conclude if I have been making some progress or not. While as if I were to consider that timeline, I'll understand how my body weight has been moving on the scale gradually. Sometimes there would be some fluctuation up high towards the higher end, some days it will be lower. But overall, I would see some progress. The same thing applies to you. You cannot be myopic when it comes to healing. You cannot decide or assume or conclude that you have healed or you have not healed or you're making any progress or you're not making any progress on the basis of how you're feeling today in this moment. Because if you make conclusions on the basis of this one data point, you are being very myopic and your conclusions are distorted and inaccurate. Therefore, you need to zoom out. Whenever you hit a low in your healing journey, you have to look at the overall progress that you have been making in the last few weeks or a month. And then compare today's low with the last low. Because you would find that this low is higher than the last low. There would be a significant difference between the depth in the low of this wave that you had in the last time and the low that you're having right now. So that is something that you need to understand. Do not be myopic, zoom out, have the understanding of bigger picture and look at the different data points to get an understanding of what kind of progress you're making. Before we move to number 3, I am curious to know where you are in your healing journey. What progress have you made? How are you moving on in your life? Just drop your experiences in comments below and maybe other people would also share their own experiences and you might feel connected and validated. So let's get moving on and let's start with point number 3, which is manage your expectations. As humans, we have a tendency to think in the terms of beginning and end. Something has a beginning and an end, but it's not applicable to each and every situation, each and every aspect of our life. For example, your healing journey. What we assume is today I am this healed, tomorrow I'm going to be that healed, and that healed is going to be way better than this. It's an assumption that this graph that you are seeing, that you're looking at on your screen right now, it's going all the way up towards the right. It's quite linear and you're making gradual progress without any lows, which is a 100% inaccurate thing to believe. Why? Because healing is a gradual process of reconstruction, as I said in the point number 1, and you have to make a lot of progress. And when you make a lot of progress, there will be ups and downs. And with those ups and downs, sometimes you would feel like you are moving towards the outcome that you have set for yourself, and some of the days you would feel like you are not making any progress at all. Therefore, understanding that healing is a journey, it's not a destination that you're going to reach by a month or a week, is basically setting yourself free. Because if you do not have certain rigid expectations for yourself, such as I should be this healed by a week or a month from now, you are not going to feel disappointed. Because let's say if you set expectations and then when you reach that point of time and you're not as healed as you thought you would be at that point, you would be disappointed. And if those expectations are gone, you'd be free because you wouldn't have put yourself in a box, and therefore you are free to explore and expand in whatever way you want to. Number 4, healing is not linear. In fact, it's not a complex mush and entanglement of everything, because look at the internet. People say, well, healing is not linear, but they also represent it as something like, very complicated, that is no end or no beginning, or at least it's just a mixture of so many complicated things, there is no clarity. But that is not the case. It is, in fact, a rolling average. The progress that you make on the rolling average. What does that mean? Look at the graph that you see on your screen right now. So basically, you have this gradual process that is happening, and there is this graph where you are having your highs, but then you hit the low, and then you have this another high, but then you hit a low. So the next low you would have is going to be higher than the first low that you had. Overall, as I said earlier, you have to zoom out. You see that with these highs and lows, you're making some progress. So it's a process, it's like a wave where you're going up and down and up and down. Maybe not in this gradual continuum, but it's just something like this, something along these lines. So it's neither linear, nor is it a complicated mess. Let's get moving on to point number 5, which is avoid gutters and build bumpers. Someone has rightly said, tell me the place, show me the place where I'm going to die, and I will do anything and everything in my capacity to avoid going to that place. It's not about raising the healing. It's not about saying tomorrow or today I'm going to be this healed and I'm going to do this thing and that thing to take it all the way to a new high. Because in an attempt of doing so, you're going to ultimately hit a new lowest low. You cannot sustain something that takes all of your energy. Instead, your focus should be on raising the floor, doing what is sustainable, and understanding that you need to avoid making mistakes such as repeating the same patterns by ending up in the similar form of relationships again and again, so that you can prevent re-traumatization. By working on those traumas, by working on your patterns, you are going to build bumpers that would avoid accidents, that would avoid re-traumatization, that would avoid a lot of pain. Ultimately, that would avoid you from taking everything that you have and putting it into your healing journey. It will keep it gradual, it will keep it smooth, and it will keep you going. That is our point number 5, and with that, I hope you truly understood the 5 secrets that you needed to know in order to heal faster. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you soon. I'll talk with you soon. Till then, let the healing begin.